Imagine a machine so massive it swallows a football field of corn in a single pass, 60 feet wide, ripping through 24 rows at once, feeding the biggest combine ever built. Some of these monsters weigh more than 16,000 pounds. Some devour over 7,000 bushels every single hour. Farmers waited decades for machinery this insane, and today I'm counting down the 10 biggest corn pickers ever built. Number 1 is so enormous only one combine on Earth can even carry it. Let's go. Number 10. Case IH C512. Let's kick this off with a machine that isn't the widest on this list, but it holds a record nobody else can touch. This is the Case IH C512, and while it only runs 12 rows, it hides the single biggest weapon in the entire corn head world. Bolted across the front of this head is an in-feed auger measuring a jaw-dropping 23.6 inches in diameter. That's the largest auger in the industry. Nothing else even comes close. Why does that matter? Because the auger is the throat of the machine. Everything the head rips off the stalk has to funnel through it and into the combine. Make that throat bigger, and suddenly the machine can eat corn faster than a hungry combine can thresh it. The C512 comes in 20-inch, 22-inch and 30-inch row configurations, and it rolls with 24 gathering chains dragging stalks into those spinning rollers. Case IH built this thing specifically to keep up with their monster AF series and 260 series combines, the kind of machines that treat a 200-acre field like a warm-up lap. But here's the wild part. Case IH engineered the C512 to be lighter than the models before it, while carrying that gigantic auger. Lighter head, bigger throat, more capacity. That's the holy trinity of harvest engineering, and it's why this small 12-row head earns its spot on a list of giants. Think about it this way. A farmer with an older head might crawl through his field at 4 miles an hour, terrified of plugging the machine. Slap a C512 up front, and he's flying, because that colossal auger simply refuses to choke. It's proof that biggest isn't always about width. Sometimes the biggest thing on a machine is hiding right in the middle, and this is only number 10. Trust me, it gets so much crazier from here. Number 9. John Deere C18F. Now we bring in the green giant. This is the John Deere C18F, an 18-row folding corn head, and it is the biggest corn head John Deere has ever put its name on. Roll it out in the field and it stretches roughly 31 feet across at 20-inch row spacing. But here's the trick that makes it special. Press a button in the cab and the whole thing folds up to about 17.5 feet wide for the road. That means no header trailer. No crew running back and forth between fields. No wrestling a 30-foot beast down a country lane. The operator just folds it, drives to the next field, and unfolds it, alone. And the numbers this thing pumps out are ridiculous. Bolted to a John Deere X9 combine, the C18F can harvest up to 7,200 bushels of corn in a single hour. In a full day of high-yielding corn, that adds up to as much as 80,000 bushels, 80,000, in one machine, in one day. Deere didn't stop at raw size either. This head runs their Romax chopping stalk rolls, which shred the leftover stalks so fine they break down faster for next season's soil. It's got auto-track row sense, meaning the combine can literally steer itself down the rows, even in down corn, on terraces, or around center pivot circles, while the operator just watches. When it folds, the head also drops down about 12 inches lower than older designs, giving the driver a massive boost in forward visibility. Deere claims that's an 8-foot improvement in sightlines over their older 700 FC head, and over 14 feet better than a rival folding system. That's the difference between clipping a fence post at night and gliding past it clean. 18 rows of corn folding on command, self-steering, and feeding one of the most powerful combines on the planet. For the millions of farmers running green, this is as big as it gets from the factory. But the aftermarket world? Oh, they build things Deere would never dare. Keep watching. Number 8. Case IH C516. Number 8 is a head that exists for one reason and one reason only: to feed the biggest combine Case IH has ever built. Meet the Case IH C516, a 16-row head that at 30-inch spacing spans a full 40 feet across the field. When Case IH unveiled their gigantic new AF11 combine, they knew the old heads simply couldn't keep up. A machine with 775 horsepower and a 567-bushel grain tank would starve behind a normal corn head. So they engineered the C516 to match it. And the headline feature, Case IH says the C516 packs the largest in-feed auger in the industry on a 16-row unit. That enormous auger is what lets this head shovel corn into the AF11 fast enough to actually use all that power. Here's the engineering flex though. Even while making the head bigger and beefier, Case IH cut nearly 1,000 pounds of weight compared to previous models. 1,000 pounds gone, while capacity went up. That's not a small tweak, that's a redesign from the ground up. Now, why do 16 rows at 40 feet matter so much? Because the AF11 can unload its entire 567 bushel tank in about 100 seconds, at 6 bushels every second. That combine is a grain-eating machine, and it needs a head that can shove corn down its throat without ever slowing down. The C516 is that head. Case IH literally debuted the two together at the National Farm Machinery Show in Louisville, the AF11 combine wearing a C516 up front, 16 rows of 30-inch corn, ready to demolish a field. There's a bigger brother too, the C518, running 18 rows in narrow 20 or 22-inch spacings for the guys chasing every last bushel per acre. But the C516 is the one purpose-built to dance with the biggest red combine on earth. This is where the list starts shifting gears. Up to now, we've talked factory heads, the stuff you can order from a dealer. From here on out, we enter the territory of record breakers, one-offs, and machines so big the manufacturers had to invent brand new combines just to carry them. Number 7. Olimac Drago GT. At number 7, we cross the ocean to Italy, because when it comes to corn heads, the Europeans build some absolute artwork. This is the Olimac Drago GT, and it's living proof that biggest and smartest can be the same machine. The Drago GT is available all the way up to 24 rows, in rigid or folding versions, with customizable row spacings ranging from 50 centimeters to a massive 180 centimeters apart. That flexibility means this same design gets shipped to farms on nearly every continent, harvesting corn planted every which way. Olimac has been refining corn heads for more than 70 years. This isn't a company that guesses, it engineers. And the tech on this thing is genuinely next level. The Drago GT carries a cross auger 500 millimeters across, that's roughly 20 inches, which Olimac calls the largest in its class, keeping crop flowing even in the heaviest, highest yielding fields. It runs the longest knife rollers in the industry at 22.5 inches, spun at a lower speed so ears don't bounce off and get lost. Less bounce means less wasted corn on the ground, and on a 24-row head, saving even a few kernels per stalk adds up to truckloads. But the real showstopper is the deck plates. On most corn heads, a farmer manually sets the gap the stalks pull through, and if he gets it wrong, he loses corn all day. The Drago GT adjusts every single row automatically and independently, constantly, in real time. The driver never touches a thing. Fat stalk, skinny stalk, doesn't matter. Each row adapts on its own. It even runs 4 separate clutches on every single row unit, each calibrated for a different job. So if one part hits a rock, the rest keep working and nothing gets destroyed. Most competitors use a single one-size-fits-all clutch. Olimac said no thanks and built 4. So while American giants win on raw width, the Drago GT wins on precision at scale, a 24-row monster that thinks for itself. And now, we climb into the truly enormous. The next 4 machines are all record holders. Number 6. Geringhoff NorthStar 2420. Number 6 is the machine that for years wore the crown as the widest folding corn head in the entire United States. This is the Geringhoff NorthStar 2420. 24 rows, 20-inch spacing. Unfolded, it slices through the field at a colossal 41 feet wide, and then, with the push of a single button in the combine cab, it folds itself down to just 21 feet for the road. Think about that. A head wider than most houses, collapsing in half so a farmer can drive it down a 2-lane highway without a police escort and without ever climbing off the machine. This head is manufactured in Germany by Geringhoff, one of the most respected names in corn harvesting on the planet, and then assembled in the United States for American farms. When it launched, the distributor Aemsco flat out called it the widest folding combine head in the country. And the reasoning behind it was brutally simple, straight from the people selling it. The bigger the combines get, the bigger the heads have to be. Combines kept growing, grain tanks kept swelling, so the heads had no choice but to grow too. The 2420 uses Geringhoff's knife-to-knife cutting technology, and it was engineered to thrive in the conditions that wreck lesser heads: downed corn flattened by storms, tough late-season stalks, fields where a normal head would just plug and quit. Now here's a detail that tells you everything about who buys these things. The suggested list price ran around $180,000 for one corn head, not the combine, just the attachment that hangs off the front. That's more than most people's houses. And farmers with tens of thousands of acres bought them anyway, because when you're racing a shrinking harvest window against the weather, 41 feet per pass isn't a luxury, it's survival. The 2420 proved that folding heads could go truly massive without becoming a nightmare to transport. It set the template. But Geringhoff wasn't done, and neither was the arms race. Because somewhere out there, engineers were about to strap 24 row units onto a single frame and dare the world to build a combine big enough to pull it. Number 5. Aemsco 2420 Geringhoff NorthStar. At number 5, we go back to the machine that arguably started this whole "how big can we possibly go" madness. This is the Aemsco 24-row 20-inch NorthStar, a full 40 feet wide and one of the first true mega heads ever to hit a cornfield. The company behind it, Aemsco, formerly known as Degelman Industries, didn't just wake up one day and bolt this together. It was the payoff of a long-term strategy. Back in 2005, Aemsco built the first ever 16-row, 40-foot wide header, taking components from smaller Geringhoff NorthStar heads and mounting them on one giant custom frame. That 16-row was radical enough. But then they went further and stretched the concept to 24 rows across that same 40-foot width, cramming even more row units into the cut. And the company's president said the quiet part out loud. They built it in anticipation of where farming was heading. Farms were getting bigger. Operators were demanding more from every machine. So Aemsco built for a future that hadn't fully arrived yet. But here's the part that makes this machine legendary, and it's a problem most people never even think about. Aemsco said the first challenge was adapting all those row unit components to fit one massive 40-foot frame. Fair enough, that's engineering. The second challenge? Finding a combine big enough to actually pull the thing. Let that sink in. They built a corn head so enormous that at the time, there was barely a combine on Earth powerful enough to drag it through a field. The head outran the machines meant to carry it. That's how far ahead of the curve this build was. It's like designing a trailer before anyone's invented a truck strong enough to tow it. This is the machine that proved the ceiling could be shattered, that you could take standard row units and multiply them into something never seen before. Every giant folding head that came after it owes a debt to this build. It was the moment the industry realized the only real limit wasn't the head, it was the horsepower behind it, and that limit was about to fall. Number 4. Karma 30-row 12-inch. Number 4 isn't the widest head on this list, but in one specific way it out-crazies almost everything we've seen. This is the Karma 30-row 12-inch corn head, and when it debuted in 2013, it set a world record for the sheer number of rows crammed into a single machine. 30 rows. But here's what makes it mind-bending. Those rows are only 12 inches apart. Now, standard corn in America is planted 30 inches between rows. Karma's founder, Marion Karma, spent decades arguing that was a colossal waste of space. If you plant your rows closer together, you can fit more corn plants on the same acre, capture more sunlight, and grow more bushels off the exact same ground. Marion has been researching narrow row corn since the early 1990s. He was planting 12-inch rows as far back as 1994, when the rest of the industry thought he was crazy. The problem was always the same. Nobody built a corn head that could harvest rows that tight and that numerous. So Marion built it himself, a 30-row head at 12-inch spacing, the most rows anyone had ever put on a corn head at the time. He didn't stop innovating either. Karma was behind the world's first 15-inch corn head back in 2002, the first chopping and shearing stalk roll that shreds stalks into 1-inch pieces in 2010, and the first 12-inch head in 2012. This company doesn't follow trends, it creates the categories. Why does narrow row matter so much? Because in the world of big ag, the corn head is one of the only tools that can actually increase your yield rather than just harvest what's already there. Get the rows right, get the head right, and you're pulling more corn off every single acre you own. On a 20,000-acre operation, a few extra bushels per acre is a fortune. The 30-row 12-inch head is what happens when a lifelong obsession with efficiency collides with world-class engineering. It's not just big, it's smart big, and it set the stage for the machine that would take the Calmer name to its absolute peak, coming up right now at number 3. Number 3. Calmer 3215. Number 3 is a machine Calmer itself has called the largest corn head it has ever produced. Meet the Calmer 3215, and the name tells you the whole insane story. 32 rows, 15-inch spacing, 40 feet of solid corn-devouring width. 32 rows in a single pass. Read that again. While most farmers in the country are running 6, 8 or 12 rows, this monster attacks 32 at once. Calmer first stunned the industry when it displayed a 32-row, 15-inch head at Husker Harvest Days back in September of 2013, 40 feet wide, packed with rows, and bristling with their trash reduction chopper kits that shred stalks as they harvest. But the 3215 isn't just a show floor concept. Calmer actually built one for a real working farm, Frank Howey Farms, down in Monroe, North Carolina. And Frank Howey is no ordinary farmer. He runs nearly 21,000 acres, growing corn, soybeans, and wheat, and even raising a herd of cattle on the side. This is a man who has won just about every honor American agriculture hands out. FFA Star American Farmer back in 1987, a National Young Farmer and Rancher Achievement Award in 1995, Sunbelt State Farmer of the Year in 2003, and Top Producer of the Year in 2018. When a farmer at that level needs a corn head, reliable isn't enough. He needs something that can eat 21,000 acres of corn, fast, and never choke. That's exactly what the 3215 delivers. It pairs those 32 rows with Calmer's Residue Management Performance Kit, which lets the head harvest faster while slashing kernel loss and cutting down on the trash that gets sucked into the combine. More corn in the tank, less junk, higher speeds. The engineering saying goes that with a head like this, your only real problem is keeping the grain tank empty, because it fills faster than you can haul it away. 32 rows is, plainly, one of the highest row counts ever built into a single corn head. It's the machine that lets one operator do the work of 5. For pure row count, almost nothing on the planet beats it. But for pure jaw-dropping physical size, we've got 2 machines left, and they are absolute leviathans. Number 2. Bish Enterprises 27 row. At number 2, we've got a genuine world record, and it comes from a family company that's been building ag equipment for over 40 years. This is the Bish Enterprises 27-row, 20-inch folding corn header, and when it launched for the 2023 harvest, Bish announced it as the world's largest folding corn header ever built. Let's talk raw dimensions because they are absurd. In the field, this head cuts a path 45 feet wide. 45 feet. That's wider than a lot of houses are long. Then for transport, it folds down to 30 feet. And this thing is not light. It tips the scales at over 8 tons. That's more than 16,000 pounds of steel and machinery hanging off the front of a single combine. You're not casually lifting that with a normal machine. You need a genuine beast of a combine just to carry its weight and swing it around. Now here's where it gets truly ridiculous. The throughput. At a steady 5 miles per hour, in a field yielding 225 bushels per acre, this head harvests roughly 6,148 bushels every single hour. Push it up to 6 miles per hour, and it peaks at around 7,357 bushels per hour. 7,000 bushels in 60 minutes. To put that in persp, that's dozens of grain cart loads pouring off one machine every hour, all day long. The company's CEO, Brad Bish, framed it as a testament to his family's decades of dedication to farming, a machine built for the exact moment when modern farms have simply outgrown everything that came before. And they didn't just build it and park it in a showroom, they ran it. That 27-row header was photographed tearing through corn out in South Dakota, doing the exact job it was engineered for. 27 rows, 45 feet, over 8 tons, 7,000 plus bushels an hour, and officially recognized as the largest folding corn header on the entire planet. This is the machine that took the folding head record and demolished it. For most of the world, this is the biggest corn picker you will ever see with your own eyes. But it is not number 1, because there's one machine that goes even further, a head so enormous that when it was built, only a single combine on Earth could carry it. Number 1. Geringhoff NorthStar 2430. This is it, the absolute king, the largest corn head in the world, the Geringhoff NorthStar 2430, and the numbers are so big they almost don't sound real. 24 rows, 30-inch spacing, and a full 60 feet of cutting width. 60 feet in a single pass. When Geringhoff introduced it, their own director of marketing put it plainly, "This is the largest corn head in the world at 24 rows and 30-inch spacing. A full 60-foot corn head. That's not marketing fluff from a random dealer. That's the manufacturer staking the world title." To picture 60 feet of corn head, imagine standing at one end and looking down the length of it. It's wider than a basketball court. It's about the length of a bowling lane and a half. And every foot of it is packed with spinning knife rollers, gathering chains and augers, all working in perfect sync to strip corn off 24 rows at once and funnel it into the machine behind it. And that's the punchline of this entire list. The reason this head sits at number 1, it was built for exactly one machine on the planet, the Case IH AF11, the biggest combine ever produced in North America. Geringhoff themselves called the AF11 the beastly AF11 when they revealed this head. And it takes a beast to carry this. The AF11 runs a 775 horsepower engine, packs a 567 bushel grain tank, and unloads 6 bushels of corn every single second. It's a Class 10 plus combine, a class so new it barely existed before this machine defined it. Built at Case IH's plant in Grand Island, Nebraska. Its twin, the New Holland CR11, holds the crown as the world's largest combine, with a 20,000-liter grain tank, built in Zedelgem, Belgium. Now connect the dots. You need the most powerful combine ever built, just to carry the biggest corn head ever built. The NorthStar 2430 doesn't just fit any machine. The machinery world had to invent an entirely new class of combine before this head could even exist. It's the top of the food chain, the final boss of corn harvesting. Geringhoff also loaded it with their integrated crop flow reel, engineered to yank ears cleanly even out of storm-flattened downed corn and to process the stalk for faster breakdown and tillage afterward, meaning even at 60 feet wide, it barely leaves a kernel behind. 60 feet, 24 rows, bolted to the most powerful combine on the continent. This is the Geringhoff NorthStar 2430, the single biggest corn picker ever built and the undisputed number 1 on our list. If you want to see the biggest combines and tractors ever built next, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.